just down the road. And it is an odd thing really for one mayor to jump to another city and stand. And so people have quite rightly asked me, why are you doing it? And the reason is because actually Wellington City is the beating heart of the Wellington region, and all other parts of the region depend on Wellington City being successful, on growing, on providing leadership, on really projecting Wellington to the rest of the country and to the world. And over the last few years, sadly, that hasn't happened as much as it should have. And I've been a bystander, and while at the same time working pretty hard as Mayor of Porirua to try and put things in place to shore up our future there. And when I thought, well, I've done 5 terms on the Porirua Council in total, I've actually had my time. And I've got some reasonable experience in leadership and bringing together fractured teams and uniting around a vision that everybody can buy into, and also handing back influence to communities. And that's why I'm running. I think that for me, it's really important that Wellington gets moving, as Andy mentioned, but get Wellington moving really as a PR exercise. There have been years and years and years of an opportunity for the council to put together a deal with the government on the terrace tunnel to the airport, which is State Highway 1. And throughout the rest of the region, we've actually managed to do it, despite the fact that Kapiti and Porirua are small councils and people kind of look down their noses a little bit. We have embraced the need for large infrastructure, for large roading infrastructure, knowing that it's not just about cars, it's about people, it's about public transport, particularly buses, and that's what Wellington needs to grasp in terms of the next few years, because it will be an underperforming tail, clogging up major infrastructure like the hospital and like the airport. And we have to grab that. I'm really committed to bus rapid transit. It is a funded, added investment in public transport, getting more buses out of the CBD at peak time and more direct transport from suburb to suburb. But for that to work properly, the different suburbs of Wellington need to have a really effective voice. And I think I said tonight that when I announced my community futures policy last week, Karori was really front and centre in my mind, because I have talked to people here about this frustration that we've got a big community with significant needs. We feel that you feel that you've got a lot of the solutions in your head and that you've got the expertise to drive those solutions, but there is a disconnect at times with the council. And I'm not writing the council off. I'm not saying the council has done an altogether bad job. What I'm saying is the council often needs to get out of the way so communities can plan for themselves, define their values, so they can grow and change. And it's not really about politicians. It's not about politicians having all the ideas. We know what happens when politicians have ideas. It's called the island-based cycleway. So what we need to do is clear the decks of politicians and establish a new way of working communities with the council, where the bureaucrats cede some of their money, because funding has to follow planning, and let communities decide for themselves. And you might say that's too hard, we're never going to agree. Actually, I've seen it happen, suburb after suburb. They all look a bit different, they all want different things. That's the whole point, because where you live is different. We're not all defined by one Wellington. We're defined by the neighbourhoods and the streets we live in. And that has to come through. That actually has to be acknowledged by the council. I don't want to tell you how things should go in Karori. I don't want to tell you that how the mobile station should be shifted and where the town centre should be. You should tell me as the mayor, and the council should negotiate and act on that and act on your behalf. The old Teachers Training College, I've got a bit of a soft spot for. It's quite important to me actually, because my parents met there in 1975. So they were both training to be teachers. And actually, once again, the council can have a role, but the community has to plan what it wants first. That has to come first. I don't know if we've got that time. I think we may have a little bit of time. It certainly can't be the council writing a cheque. I don't think that's responsible. I'll be really upfront. But it might be able to secure some of those community sporting facilities and other things that are valued, and then plan what sort of more intensive housing, new housing looks like that suits the needs of the people that live in this suburb. So that's why I'm running. I think Wellington has to lift itself up. I think we've got to lift ourselves up as the third wheel of New Zealand. We can't just rely on Christchurch and Auckland and the other areas that have been growing far quicker than us over the last few years. We have to develop new markets internationally. We've got to work with the existing businesses and the public service in Wellington and really stand up and be counted. And that's making the most of everything we've got in terms of sport, arts and culture. And I think I'm at an end, but I'm happy to take a question.